Don't date the church girl, or at least don't date her just because she goes to church, because church attendance is one of the easiest things to fake. Character, however, always reveals itself over time, whether it's good or bad. And I had to learn this lesson the hard way. You see, I used to go for the church girl, the one who never misses Sunday, the one who served somewhere in ministry, dressed modestly, and the one everybody at church assumed would make a great wife, because I assumed that if she loved God, she'd automatically make a great wife. I was wrong. Over time, I started noticing the woman I saw on Sunday wasn't always the same woman I saw Monday through Saturday. The image I saw at church didn't always match what I saw on social media or how she carried herself outside those four walls. Now, I know that title probably offended somebody already, and good, because Christian men need to hear this. Somewhere along the way, we've been taught that if a woman goes to church every Sunday, serves in ministry, posts Bible verses, and says she loves Jesus, she automatically qualifies to make a good wife. And no, that's not discernment. That's making assumptions. Church attendance is a great starting point, and it can put you on the right path, but it does not provide enough information to choose a quality wife. And that's what so many Christian men get fooled. Going to church shouldn't qualify someone to be your spouse. It'll tell you where they spend a few hours on Sunday, but it doesn't tell you who they are for the rest of the week. Here's something Christian men really need to understand, so pay attention, guys. Church attendance doesn't tell you why someone is there. Yeah, there's some people pursuing Christ, some trying to rebuild their lives, others looking for community, and yes, some people come to church after years of chasing relationships that left them empty. Here's where you need discernment. There are women who spend years chasing the men they are genuinely attracted to. The guys with status, the exciting guys, the bad boys. And those relationships leave them hurt, disappointed, and exhausted. So they start looking at Christian men a little differently, and it's not for the reason you think. Not because the attraction they once had for those men necessarily disappeared, but their priorities changed. Now that sounds okay on paper, until you realize you may not have been the man she would have chosen if the man she truly desired had chosen her. All of a sudden, you're the safe option. The cleanup guy. You a janitor. The man expected to clean up the mess after somebody else got the excitement. Now hear me out. Listen to me carefully. I'm not saying that's every woman in church. It's not even close. I'm saying that church attendance doesn't tell you whether she's genuinely transformed or whether she's simply looking for a different kind of man now. Those are two completely different things. That's why you don't assume, you just observe. There are incredible women in church, but there are also immature women in church. There are people outside the church who desperately need Jesus, but there are also people inside the church who know all the Christian lingo, all the Christian language, but still haven't developed Christian character. Church attendance is a starting point, but it's not the finish line, because most people don't deceive you with their words. They deceive you with their image. Because image is easier to fake than character. I'll never forget, I was playing keys at this church, and there was this beautiful girl I was interested in at the time. I was fresh off a divorce. I had been with my ex-wife since I was 21, and I'm 30 at this point, trying to step back into the dating world, not realizing how much it had changed. Maybe I was a bit naive, but I truly believed that what I saw on Sunday was who she was the rest of the week. And this girl seemed to have everything going on for herself. I mean, she sang on the praise team, had a great career. She was attractive, had her own place. On paper, she looked like everything I thought I wanted. But what I didn't know is the more I got to know the people around her, I realized there was a side of her life that I never would have seen by simply watching her in church. And that's when something clicked. There's a difference between someone's public image and their actual character. You see, anybody can post Bible verses, but character is a whole lot harder to fake. Character is revealed when life gets hard, when you're corrected, disappointed, when you don't get your way, or temptation shows up. Not by the version they present to you. So many Christian men make this costly mistake. The moment she checks all the Christian boxes, they stop paying attention. They stop observing, asking hard questions. They stop vetting, and they assume that they've already found a wife before they've really taken the time to get to know her. Meeting a woman at church doesn't mean you found a wife. It just means you met a woman who goes to church. There's a big difference. See, as men, we can't afford to get this wrong. Marriage isn't just another relationship. It's one of the biggest decisions you'll ever make. And the wrong one can cost you financially. It can change your relationship with your children. And it can affect your mental health. And trust me, I've lived it. See, I'm still fighting to maintain my relationship with my children after divorce. So when I tell you not to rush this process, I'm not speaking from theory. I'm speaking from experience. That's why you don't assume she's wife material just because you're attracted to her and she goes to church. There's a season before commitment where you're supposed to gather information, watch the patterns, watch how she handles conflict, watch how she treats people who can't do anything for her, and most importantly, watch whether her words match her actions. See, anybody can impress you for a few weeks, but very few people can fake character over time. That's why you don't rush commitment. You let consistency reveal itself. Now, maybe you're thinking, okay, what if she truly loves God? And that's a fair question, because I know some of you are thinking, isn't that enough? No. And Christian men often get this confused. Here's what I had to learn the hard way. See, loving God and being ready for marriage aren't the same thing. A person can sincerely love God and still not be aligned with your vision for your family, because marriage requires more than shared beliefs. And I know that from experience. There were signs telling me not to get married, but I ignored them. Why? Because I wanted to make things right before God. See, me and my ex-wife, we were living together, having sex before marriage. So I convinced myself that getting married was automatically the right choice. And looking back, I wasn't making that decision from wisdom. I was making it from guilt. In fact, the first wedding we planned, I had called it off an hour before we were supposed to get married. And that should have told me everything I needed to know. One day I'll go into that story for you. But instead, we ended up getting married like later in the year. And there were already warning signs. She would tell me out of her own mouth that she didn't respect me. Every time I tried to leave, there was pushback. And one thing I completely overlooked at the time is she would gladly receive the pastor's wisdom. But when similar leadership came from me, it was often met with resistance. Looking back, I know that wasn't like really about the pastor, but it just revealed how she viewed me. And I want y'all to hear me out. Like, I'm not saying I was the perfect husband. I wasn't. I made a lot of mistakes. And one day I'll tell you guys that story. Maybe you can learn from me and my mistakes. But what I'm saying is this. Shared faith doesn't automatically create a healthy marriage. Marriage also requires respect, trust, humility, emotional maturity, and self-control, and the ability to resolve conflict. Because loving God doesn't automatically make someone ready to build a marriage. So, if church attendance isn't enough, if attraction isn't enough, and even if loving God by itself isn't enough, then what is? Jesus told us to recognize people by their fruit, not their title, not their ministry or Instagram bio. Fruit takes time, and fruit is consistency. It's watching someone's life long enough to know whether their actions will match what they say they believe. That's what you're looking for, not perfection, consistency. You remember how I started this video. Don't date a church girl. What I really meant was this. Don't date a woman simply because she goes to church. Date the woman whose life reflects Christ when nobody's watching. Don't marry a title. Don't marry a ministry position. Don't marry a reputation or an image. Don't marry because you feel guilt or feel pressure. Marry consistent character, because words can be rehearsed. Church attendance can be routine, and the image can be manufactured. But fruit always tells the truth. And that's the woman you want to build a life with. Someone genuine. Not because she looked like a Christian, but because over time she lived consistently like one. If you're a Christian man trying to become the kind of man who dates with wisdom instead of assumptions, I want to hear your thoughts. Like, share, and subscribe to CMD, and I'll see you in the next one.